Hey everybody, it's Brian House here for Housework, and today I am going to be building an attachment for my 2x72 home-built grinder. If you haven't watched that original video of me building this thing, there'll be a link somewhere down below or in a card somewhere over here. You can watch the build process of this. Essentially, it's all tube steel. It's a design that DC Knives came up with. I really like the design. It's very simple, very easy to build, and very inexpensive. But recently I've been wanting to add a few attachments to it. You can see here I bought a small wheel attachment for it, which I really like a lot, and it helps me get into those little tight spaces. But I've really wanted a top platen, and I saw a video on Instagram of some guys out in the UK, Blenheim Forge, where they had built a homemade grinder, and basically it was a top platen that, maybe at a 20-degree angle. And anyway, I'll cut to the video here so you can kind of check it out and see what I'm talking about. I was really inspired by that, and I liked the fact that they could run, the platen was so long that they could run the whole blade along the top of the grinder itself. And numerous times I've thought, it'd be great if I had something like that. So I took a week, I learned SketchUp. I went and designed a grinder that sort of mimicked their grinder, but also had like a forward-facing platen. And then the last video I recorded was me making the kitchen knife video. I'm watching a shot where I'm using the small wheel attachment, and I notice all this empty space right here. And I thought to myself, you know what? I don't need to build another grinder. I already have what I need. This is not rocket science right here. This is a moving belt, and I just really need to build something here that would support this belt in this spot. So I called Tampa Bay Steel. They provided me with some 2x3 square tubing. I'm not going to use this piece. I think it's a little too short, so I'm going to cut a new piece. But we're going to make a 18-degree top flat platen that I think is going to give me exactly what I want. And then what I think is also kind of cool about this is that you'll have a little bit of a slack portion of the belt between the front roller and this roller right here, where if you're working on a handle or something, you'd still be able to do that. Or this could give you some sort of flexibility. I don't really know yet until I build it. But anyhow, come along with me. Let's build it together and give it a test. I'm not gonna buy real expensive aluminum wheels until I know this actually works, so I'm actually gonna use longboard wheels for this today. And all the hardware and everything, I think I'll probably have maybe like $30 or $40 in material in on this build. Most of the expense was the steel and the hardware from Ace, just to, the axles and so on. So anyhow, let's get to it. Let's build this thing. I'm excited to give it a shot. So we've got our 16-inch long piece. This is going to be the brace for the top platen. I'm actually going to use a piece of hardened steel as the platen itself. So we'll cut this down and harden it in a little bit. But I want to make sure that we utilize as much of this flat space as possible. So I want to move these wheels out as far as I can without compromising the strength of this steel itself. The reason why I bought 1/4 inch thick is because when I drill the hole for the axle, I really want that to be sturdy and strong. 1/8 of an inch would probably just be too small. So I'm going to go ahead and measure this out, and then we're going to cut some slots for these wheels. And actually, we'll probably do it the other way around. We'll drill the holes first. I don't really think it matters, honestly. So I need to put the wheels about 3/4 of an inch from the edge, the holes for the wheels anyhow. They'll hang over a little bit, but that's okay because I want the belt to ride down on the belt, or ride down on the wheel itself. So yeah. So if we do 3/4 of an inch on the edge, that'll signify our axle location. Do this on the center. This actually is going to be a little bit raised up because we're going to put that flat platen on the top, but I'm just really wanting to measure where this will sit so I know how far my cuts need to be for the wheel slots. What does that come up to? 2 1/4. So 2 1/4 back. I've got to notch these tops and bottoms out of this 2x3. Now I bet you can see where I'm going with this. It's 1 inch. Measure 9 times, cut once, right? Do it again. I've got it right there. So one of the things we need to make sure that we do is we true up this mill, because I want this axle to be as straight as possible. And I'm going to try to do it all in one shot. I don't know if I've got a long enough bit to go all the way through. But if I can get a pilot hole all the way through, I know that everything is going to be straight. So I've got one of these little digital levels. So we're at 0.22. We really want to check our bit. I need it to be 5/16. So that's our axle. This is our drill bit. Let me just double check it. So we're at 7.71 millimeters. That's 7.8 millimeters. It's like a 100th off. So I'd say that's within tolerance. I don't think that's going to be a big deal. So can I get all the way through? I can. I think I'm just going to go for it. I'm not going to try to, this is mild steel. I'm not going to try to drill a pilot hole and all that. I really need to make sure that this is eight point 88.73 and 0.18. So if we do the math, need coffee here. It's early yet. .74 off. It's almost a degree. So can we compensate? I'm going to say that's good. If it doesn't track, Just have to redo it. So I want to make this thing removable, and it looks like if I build a receiver, it'll line right up with this tracking wheel and the small arm wheel. I shouldn't need to put a spacer in there. I thought I would have to, but I should be able to just weld a receiver onto the main body, and then a tooling arm, so this will just go clunk, sit right down in there. And then I'll put a knob on it to tighten it down so I can adjust the height. I think the next iteration of this, I'll make this so I can turn it, at least on that one axis. But for now, I just want it stationary. I'm going to do a 4.5 inch piece of 2 by 2 tube steel, and this is 1/4 inch wall. 1.5 inch fits in there perfectly if you grind the weld out of the inside. And I take off a little bit of the slag off of this, but it should fit in there perfectly. So as you can see, we got everything we wanted out of this build. I'm going to go ahead and call this a success. The proof of concept is there and it really does work well. A couple of minor changes that I would make. I think that I may want to use this without the small wheel attachment. As you saw in the video, when I'm using it, all the sparks and all the metal shavings end up hitting you kind of in the chest and the stomach, which isn't ideal. The solution to that is actually bring another wheel down here, take the small wheel attachment off, add another wheel down here so that the belt actually takes a turn and goes 90 degrees this way and then back. If you have any ideas as to how to do that, I kind of thought about using this bottom tube here. You could attach something to it, but it's not centered, so you'd have to kind of zigzag over. But anyhow, if you've got an idea for that, go ahead and leave me a comment. I'd like to hear your ideas. You saw me using a few tools that were really helpful during this process, and these are tools that I think every workshop should have. One being the Porta bandsaw table that is made by Swag Off-Road. I have a whole nother video on that. If you look into my library, I'll put a link down in the description. You can go find it. That is a really awesome tool. I use the super cheap Bauer Porta bandsaw from Harbor Freight. That thing was $95 with a coupon, and it's a workhorse. It just works really great. I just buy the really nice blades, the Milwaukee blades from Home Depot. You know, that's kind of important. One of the things you saw me using quite a bit in this video is this super little handy digital level. These are amazing. They're $20 on Amazon. I've got links down in the description so you can go buy your own. Every home workshop should have one of these. You also saw me using my Enco 105-1110 mill quite a bit. That is a new addition to my shop within the last few months. A watcher of my channel, Scott, actually had one, and he lived near me up in sort of the center part of the state, and said, hey, I'd like to bring it down so you could use it in your shop. So thank you, Scott. It's been an amazing addition to my workspace. I am forever grateful. Thank you so much. Also, if you'd like to support my work on Patreon, you can do that for as little as $1 a month. It helps me buy supplies and things that I need to make these videos amazing. The link is down in the description. One last thing I would like to say is thank you for all the viewership, all the subscriptions. You guys have been amazing, and I am continuing to learn every day here on YouTube, and it's fun and it's exciting for me and it gives me purpose. So thank you so much. My name is Brian House. Until the next time, this is Housework.